God has challenged Jonah to go to a city that is very, very, very wicked, very, very, very unlovely. And he challenges him to go in the strength that God has given him, with no real set instructions except to proclaim God's justice and righteousness. And that's it. And Jonah doesn't go at first. He's reluctant. And he's, in fact, he runs away from God. He eventually, after sleeping in the belly of a large fish for 3 days, sometimes God has to take us to the woodshed a little bit before we finally obey. He finally obeys. And he proclaims that message to Nineveh, and a weird thing happens. A crazy thing happens. The Ninevites repent. Their king repents. The city repents. They decide to obey and to honor the one and true God. All because of one reluctant prophet's message. And after they repented, now Jonah is, pardon my French, but Jonah is pissed off. I guess he's just wondering, why do you have to throw me in the belly of a giant fish for 3 days if you knew they were going to come to know you? Why do I have to go through all this trouble if you knew all this stuff? I don't know why, but he's upset. And God says this to him. He says, Jonah, there are 120,000 people in that city who don't know their left from their right. How can I not care for that great city? You heard Captain Ross say it, and I'll just say this along the way, as you follow God's will, there are going to be enemies of God's will that will come. As the psalm says, like foxes get into the vineyard and nip at the grapes on the bottom and try to ruin the whole batch on the vine. There are concerns of this world, there are challenges, there's life stuff that will seek to deter you from the course God has called you on. But I want to challenge you with this. Stay really clear and really focused on exactly what God has called you to do. As Captain Ross stood up here, and he was talking about you all. You all are the difference makers, staff and students. Some of you don't know what you're getting into. There's no blueprint. No, God's lead me, I just go. Some of you have eyes wide open, and God still surprises you, and you still come. My challenge is this. Keep your eyes clear on exactly what God has called you to do. And as Captain Ross was saying it, he said there are those of us in the city who are crying out for help. There are those of us on the margins who are working with the least of these, who are crying out for help. And I would say to Sophia, I would say to Gwen and staff, I would say to Captain Ross if he were here, I would say to Carl and Greg, I would say to Rudy at Harambe, we're going to keep coming. We're going to stay focused. And I would just encourage you, please don't ever give up. Please don't ever give up. We need you. We come to serve and we come to give, but the truth of the matter is we need you. We need you all to show us what it means to really live in the midst of circumstances that are always challenging, often rarely encouraging. We need you to show us how to be persistent and follow God's heart and call. We need you to show us, as Ann talked about earlier, about living simply so that others may simply live. We need you to show us how to trust God. So I would say, as you encourage us, as you compliment us, as you thank us, we would say thank you. Thank you so much. And as long as God calls, as long as God wills, as long as we have energy and strength with the Urban Project, we will never, ever stop coming. And our encouragement to you all is to hang on. Hang on, don't quit. Help is coming.